Hey, hello, welcome to another video. I'm going to let you in on the process of me building Benji, the habits, to-dos, planner, shopping, everything LifeOS app. I'm very deep in the process of refactoring and I started feeling nervous that I'm not sharing my work because it's not ready for a changelog, but there's things that I'm working on which I would like to share with you and also maybe get some advice from you about certain UI decisions. So what I decided is the native app is an overwhelming thing to build in parallel with the web app. And the web app, I've already developed it to such a degree that in a lot of ways it looks native. Like if I show you a lot of things here, like if I click here, and you can see this is swipeable and we have like native-ish toggles and we have animations everywhere. And I just built this and it's also swipeable and nice and everything is smooth and animated. We have all sorts of dialogues that look native-ish. You would think like, this is almost a native app. So what's missing here? Native is its own story and native has nicer navigation and push and stacks and whatever and swiping back. But I decided that instead of maintaining another separate native app, I can just make a very, very good native version of the web app and wrap it in a React Native view. So you launch it as an app, it exists as an app on your phone, but it's essentially a web view wrapper of the web app that looks almost indistinguishable from a native app as far as I can push that. So I have a version of it working and I've been using it on my phone and I'm happy to report that I'm finally using Benji more because my downtime is set at 8 p.m. and when my downtime would hit, I'm not able to use web apps anymore because Apple are fucking idiots and they hate web apps and they don't allow you to always allow a PWA. So you can put some apps into always allowed, but they have to be native apps. So previously I was using the old native Benji app, which was missing 80% of the Benji functionalities from the web app. So I wasn't journaling, I wasn't doing a bunch of things that Benji can do. So now I can do a lot of things. Regarding UI work. So what I decided to, one hard thing about building a LifeOS app as opposed to, let's say, a Habits app or a To-Dos app in isolation is if I only had a Habits app, this bottom toolbar would not exist at all, right? There wouldn't be a choice for selecting Habits on the bottom. It would be on the bottom, I would have like a daily view, weekly view, graph view, and a bunch of other tabs. So I can remove part of the UI, which is on top here, which makes it very hard to build this UI. To not make it too cluttered, but to also include all the functionalities is very hard. So what I try to do is instead of this saying Benji here, which it was doing that before, now it just says habits and it has the most essential buttons that you would need. I don't like the pattern of a fab, like a floating action button in the bottom right corner. So instead of a fab, I just put a plus button up here. I'm not sure about this decision because I need the space. And users will start usually with 1, 2, 3, 4, like maybe they would add like up to 6, 7 habits. And then we have the entire bottom part here empty, which I think it might be a good idea to, maybe bring back the fab and just release this space to do something else here. And I'm not sure what. So what I want is to reduce the vertical space that this bar takes because we already have a bar on the bottom and we have like a lot of things going on here. I just added this new thing. Previously, this was arrow based, like it had 2 arrows and a date in between. Now you can swipe and you can just navigate to any day to just see the habits for that day. And as you can see, the habit data is loading and this is what it looks like. And like it's visually more pleasing to look at your entire week because this opens up the possibility to also include other information of like if I swipe back, I can see percentages or I can see color based how each day of my week look like. Or when I'm going to implement this for the food screen, for the hydration screen, for the fasting screen, for all of the other screens, just to see visually, just by swiping back, how maybe I missed logging a meal, or maybe when I look at the week and it's all red, I can be like, okay, this week needs to be all green, etc. So this is a better interface. As I said, we can push web apps to look nicer if we just try. I've always been a proponent of like build everything native because native is great. But now I just switched my mindset to how far can I push a web app to be beautiful, animated, swipey thingies happening, etc. The to-do screen is even more complicated because it includes way more elements. So by default, it jumps you into overview, but we have a few modes here. So we have inbox, which just filters and shows you the current to-do inbox. We have today, tomorrow, and day, which are basically, they're all similar views. It's called the single day view. And I think here I should add the date navigator, which lets you tap on tomorrow or other days, or just swipe back and click on a previous day, which would eliminate the options here for today, tomorrow, and day. By the way, this select looks like this because I'm on desktop right now. But on mobile, when you open it on iOS and on Android, they present the native selector, which looks like a nice fancy native menu. So I'm doing this hack here where I'm putting text and an icon on top of a select, but when you click it, it pops up the select. So it's just a workaround to get a native looking menu on iOS. And I think I'm gonna start using this as a hack in more places. Like if I long press a to do, I get this menu and cool. I would need this menu in a lot of cases. But in some places when I have like a small choice of a few things, I think here, if I click on filter, yeah, time of day, like this is a native select because I don't need another sheet to pop up on this sheet. And it looks very nice when you actually use it on mobile. The idea is I'm debugging everything in CZ. So this is just a simulated view, mobile view in CZ, and here in simulations, I have the touch cursor, and in configuration of the device, I've removed the browser and the OS. So I'm looking basically at the PWA/native version of my app. See, when I turn these toggles off, I'm getting this full screen. It looks like I don't even need to use my phone. I don't need to use an actual simulator to see what my app will look like. I also made a bridge between React Native and the web view are communicating in a way. I made like a fully type safe way for them to communicate together. So now the mobile web app can call things like on tap of this checkbox, it can call window.reactnative?vibrate or haptic. And only if React Native exists, it will call that method. If it doesn't, it's just going to ignore it. So even on desktop, it would try to call that method, but if it doesn't exist, it's totally fine. So that's going to be the way that the web app communicates to the native part, because we still need the native part to do a bunch of things like Apple Health and integration and blah, blah, blah. Those would pop up native sheets, which would somehow communicate to the web app. Anyway, the to-do app is complicated because even if I remove the to-do today, tomorrow, and day, let's say we merge them into one single thing and we have the calendar, date, swipey, picker, and whatever, I still have other to-do views, these arguably are not that important. Like we have the paused view, so you can see all of your paused tasks, the recurring view to see your recurring tasks, the done view to see your done tasks, the trash view to see all of your trash. So now when I say all of this, these devlogs are good because I can also talk out loud and just think my way through this process. Basically, the main views that we have are overview, and we switch to a day, or we switch to an inbox. Those are the top three. The weekly planner should go in another place. I'm just not sure where. We have this drawer here which opens all of your projects, all of your lists, and all of your tags. Granted, the visual consistency is not there because I haven't worked on it. All of them have to have the same text, font, weight, and everything else. Right now you can see one of them is bold, one of them is big, one of them is small. They're all different, but I'll figure that one out. I'm not sure if in the bottom of tags or somewhere I should add the extra links like trash, recurring, paused, blah, 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 so they stay out of the way. And here we make the main navigation between overview, inbox, and day view, which starts from today, but you can click those day thingies to go to another place. And that would get rid of this selector view on top, I think. And that simplifies things, and that's nice. The other complication is when you enter into a project, let's say I'm into this project, which has a very, very long name, we cannot present the rest of the UI. So there has to be a back icon, which takes you back to whatever you view. I'm not sure if that's using, let me mute my phone here. I'm not sure why it's not muted. I'm not sure if this is taking you back to the previous view or it's just using the main browser, navigator, whatever, history, go back. But if you land on this page, if you open a project, let's say you persisted your final view in local storage and you open a project, the back button would take you nowhere because there's no logical place for it to take you. I'm not sure if the browser has an API to check if there is a history item, show the back button, or back button should go back history, but if there's nothing in history, go back to the main to-dos. I don't know, I have to figure that out. This is the part of a web app that sucks, which on native would be like way better. So projects, lists, and tags do the same thing. They take you to the individual page for a list or a project or a tag, but then you lose the main to-dos functionalities, like the plus for adding a to-do won't be there because each project will actually have its own, you can add to-dos in the section of each project, but there's no way to quickly add a to-do. If you're in the middle of this and you're like, oh fuck, I also need to do this and that, you cannot do it because now you're stuck in this project view and it doesn't make sense in the project view to add a plus because what the fuck would the plus mean? So the projects have a back that takes you back and a 3-dot menu which opens a bunch of things here which are regarding to the project, but a plus might be confusing. I don't know. Anyway, don't want to make this too long. Let's just call this devlog number 1. Let me know what you think and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.